there has to be real organizing, days of action to let the public know. Hopefully, get the public to understand the importance of the public servants and the federal government.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Phone number is 844-899-TVLR. That is 844-899-8857. We've got a couple of callers on the line, and then but we're going to start with a voicemail that we got from a letter carrier on this subject last week. Let's listen to that voicemail.
Hello, I'm just calling in. I'm a letter carrier, branch 182 out of Dayton, Ohio. First off, I'd like to just thank you guys what you've done for letter carriers and just postal workers in general. I really appreciate that. I know there's hundreds, if not thousands, of other letter carriers that feel the same way. And yeah, I was just calling in to kind of give my opinion on this the new collective bargaining agreement that was just released. That arbitrator Nolan rewarded. You know, I know there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of frustration, and I think most of that frustration doesn't necessarily stem from the fact, like that necessarily the numbers, the wages and the work rules, which I know a lot of people are upset about, but really due to the fact that the way it was handled. I think if this contract was presented to us, 600, 500 days ago, whatever it may be, and we voted it down and went to arbitration and we got this contract, I feel like the membership wouldn't be as much in an uproar about it. I think the fact that we waited so long really just kind of put a bad taste in all of our mouths, and honestly all do feel screwed over. But yeah, that was just my 2 cents. I appreciate all the work that you guys do, and solidarity. Thank you.
All right, there we go. Yeah, I was thinking about that voicemail as I had listened to it, and I don't know. I don't know necessarily if that's true, because if the TA had come out pretty close to the beginning of bargaining, it actually would have been much more close chronologically to the UPS agreement, and so that that it would have been right on people's minds as opposed to like further in the rearview mirror. So I don't know, but definitely at this point, the length of the negotiation certainly contribute to the anger, I'm sure. We have a caller on the line. This caller from a 424 area code. Caller from a 424 area code. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, good morning. My name is Virgilio Goze, NALC Branch 79, Seattle. Also coordinating committee member for the Building and Finance NALC. Tyler's basically talked a lot about like what I was going to try and point out, but I appreciate the coverage of the Nolan Award and, the future for actions for the NALC. But I do want to also say that, Tyler did touch on this, that we as NALC members and, postal workers are still part of the federal workforce. That quote about first they came for the socialists. Well, first they came for the other federal workers, and we're lucky, or I think we're privileged to say that the 1970 strike resulted in us being under the National Labor Relations Act instead of the Federal Relations, law, that Trump isn't just able to come in and cancel our contracts right away, right? So, we should be standing in solidarity with our fellow federal workers. And that's why the rushed arbitration, the expedited arbitration, I felt was a lost opportunity, because if we were doing a traditional arbitration, full 3 panels, we would have been able to talk about the contract out there in public and talk about the work we do and why we should be paid. This is why we should connect the contract campaign and the fight back against privatization is because the public needs to know that, the hard work we do, the service we provide for the public, and we're not taxpayer funded. A lot of misconceptions from the public.
Right.
And it's the same thing for other federal workers, like this is a great opportunity. And I feel like, the political opposition to Trump should be talking about federal workers and the hard work that they do, because the public has a huge misconception of like the different things that the service and the public servants provide. Like the public service and federal workers have been demonized since, I don't know, the Reagan administration, that the public just accepts that, all these workers' contracts are gone. And that's why there hasn't been as big of a pushback as there should be, that when 100 million workers just lost their right to collectively bargain. It's sad, but this is a great opportunity for the federal unions to support federal unionist network out there, endorse them, because right now, like the federal unions are wholly dependent on the federal unionist network to do the on the ground organizing. Like they're all focused on just going through litigation, as Tyler said, and there has to be real organizing, like what the NALC did. Like we should do more of that. Days of action to let the public know that, this is not right, that we just get rid of federal contracts that have been bargained for, and hopefully get the public to understand the importance of the public servants in the federal government. Thank you for all the coverage, Jacob.
Thank you. Appreciate the call. And appreciate the solidarity. That's really important during this time. We have another caller on the line. If you want to get where he was, you can call 844-899-TVLR. The phone number is 844-899-8857. This caller from a 312 area code. Caller from a 312 area code, what's on your mind? Or what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Cam. I'm from Branch 11. I am a mail carrier, and I'm part of the NALC. And
Kim from Branch 11, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is that I have a different concern other than the contract. My main concern is our safety, to provide a service to the world, actually. We are walking resources. We provide resources to people that is operated, to a society that's operated by ism operated. It's ism operated. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. I'm a little emotional right now, because it's people who have died to commit to a service for your resource. And I just need people to put a little more respect. And we are honorable. We are sacrificing our life every day to give you what you need. And I don't only advocate it for myself and others. This is for everybody. We have First Amendment, we have 14, we have civil liberties, we have civil rights that overrides this contract. I don't care about this contract. It does not benefit us. Why am I abiding to a contract that do not benefit me as a worker to provide a service for the country? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, and
So,
we've been following some of the safety concerns that letter carriers have had for a while, and I mean it's particularly in the South, with the heat deaths and heat strokes and stuff. I mean it's a real concern, and then
absolutely.
obviously with the people being attacked. I mean that's just wild. Some of the
Yes.
stuff that's been going on.
And I appreciate your awareness and your commitment to serve a platform, a community service for everyone to speak our minds. And I just wanted to tell you, thank you. Thank you for your services.
Well, Kim,
Thank
I
you for
appreciate it.
everyone's services.
Yeah, Kim, I appreciate it. I
All
really
right.
do.
All right.
Yeah, and thanks for the call.
No problem. Thank you.
Yep. That was Kim from Branch 11. Appreciate that, and of course we appreciate very much our letter carriers. We support our boys and girls in blue, those being the postal workers. So Yeah, really appreciate the work that y'all do. It's real important. People don't realize how important the work that the Postal Service does is.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
919 area code. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Sunshine, and I'm in Riley, North Carolina.
Sunshine from North
highly
Carolina.
disappointed.
What's on your mind?
And I'm highly disappointed with this contract. I feel like before I started working for USPS, I was working for UPS, and I literally saw the mail carriers out there working, and I admired their job. And I realized that it's not what it looks like from the outside on the inside. We do 3 different jobs. At the location where I work at, we have lots of flats, lots of packages, and we have to sort this mail, and we have to load these packages, and then we have to deliver mail. And I just feel like, the way the contract was done is just, we didn't benefit from it. I just feel like, they should consider the work that we do. Some of us come from a long distance. I live in Garner, I work in Riley. Gas prices are high. When we go in the stores, we have to pay a lot for food, and I just don't feel like they considered us with this contract. It's so unfair. And I also feel like the union used this opportunity of us coming together for their own agenda. When they had that, it was set up for the March 23rd on Washington, that would have been the best thing that could have ever happened to us. But they changed it to this fight like ATLL, not for the contract, but for their own agenda. I just feel like instead of even worrying about what the president was saying, they should have focused on the contract, got a little bit more information, thought this thing through, and then went for whatever they wanted to do. But they didn't do that. And I feel like we got the short end of the stick, and it's disappointing.
Sunshine, did you hear did you hear my interview with Tyler Vasseur just a second ago?
I didn't hear it all. I got the last part of it.
Okay. Well, towards the beginning of it, we actually discussed that, and he said that apparently there was like a directive from leadership to not mention the contract in those rallies, which I thought was kind of crazy, because I do think that there's a real threat to the Postal Service from the current administration, and that it's worth kind of saying that explicitly as the union. But there was it sounds like a coordinated attempt to keep folks from talking about the contract at the rallies. So it sounds like you went to the March 23rd rally, and sounds like they followed that instruction. They didn't talk about the contract at that rally.
Well, I didn't go because I had already heard that it wasn't going to be the 23rd no more. It was going to be the 25th. So I didn't go to the rally on Washington. What I was told is that it was going to be about the Fight Like H rally. It wasn't going to be about the contract, which I feel like is sad, because why would you not want to fight? Why wouldn't you want the rally to be about the contract when we're in arbitration?
Right.
That should have been our focus. So I'm just like, I just feel like it's just not fair. It's not right. And I literally had to, because we don't make enough money to live off of, I'm probably going to have to let my insurance go. That's $238 a paycheck. And then I had to take my 10% down to 5% just to bring some money home. And I just feel like, these people in the union, they were carriers. Why can't they remember when they were carriers? It was probably better for them then, but they should look at what's happening now and consider us. I don't feel like they're doing that.
Right. Sunshine from North Carolina, appreciate your call. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks. All right. Well, that was our last caller. If anybody else wants to call in, the phone number is 844-899-TVLR. That is 844-899-8857. Adam, do you have any thoughts? I know that you've been kind of quiet, man in the box for us today, and listening to the interview from Tyler, but and the calls. I don't know. What are you kind of thinking listening to all this?
Yeah, I understand, lots of frustrations are swirling around right now because of the multiple threats, right? You've got, in the big picture context, you have the threat of privatization and the threat of the Postal Service itself being dismantled and sold for pieces and parts. And then you have this contract, that has taken so long to get, and the results are, I think pretty widely disappointing for a lot of people. And I understand that frustration, and I understand the frustration with, with folks in various forms of leadership, and I get that. And so I just want to encourage people that what you have been doing over these past few weeks in terms of organizing is really the best path, right? It's really important that folks come together and build relationships, build cross-union solidarity. Like, I really enjoyed the fact that there was an APWU member who, is very engaged in this. And to his point, is it sad that he knows more about it than some of the people in that union? Yeah, and I agree. And, you and I have that experience all the time where we're talking to union members, even union leaders sometimes,
Right.
and we are more well-versed on it. And I get that, it's hard to keep up with everything, but that active participation is where your strength comes from. You can elect the smartest, most brilliant strategist and leader as president, but if they don't have the backup of membership, if they don't have an active, engaged membership, it's just one guy or one lady, right? Who, maybe is smart, maybe is not, but, so I would just encourage folks to keep up the organizing they've been doing, keep up the work in terms of trying to reform their locals, trying to reform the union itself to be stronger, more democratic. That's ultimately what we need is a labor movement that is strong, that is democratic, that is militant, and has active engagement from the rank and file. And, something else that I think is really important is just the solidarity and the empathy, frankly. If you are okay with this settlement, that's understandable. But if others aren't, try to understand where they're coming from and vice versa, and know that bosses and politicians want you to be divided. They want our coworkers to be divided against each other, whether it's on issues like this or through pay, through benefits, or whether it's, politics and culture. They want us to be divided. And so it's really, really important that we have those relationships with our coworkers, and that we build relationships across the working class. The postal workers, I appreciate their engagement. I appreciate, how much organizing they have been doing over recent weeks. And we've got to have more of that energy. And I also appreciated the point that you and Tyler made about the Postal Service are federal employees, right? Do not think that you're immune from what's happening with our brothers and sisters in AFGE and NIFE and IFPTE. Same with the private sector workers. Ultimately, we are all facing attacks from multiple directions, all working people, all union members, but all working people generally and broadly. And so we have to build a working class majority. We are the majority, working class people, like the vast majority of people in this country and on this planet. We are not capitalist. We work. We sell our labor in order to survive, right? And by that labor, we create tremendous wealth and profits. And we as the working class have to recognize the strength in our numbers that we have. We are very diverse. We are the most diverse class, and that adds difficulty when it comes to uniting. And, that is something we have to navigate. And I think for me, the answer is solidarity over bigotry. I don't have to like or agree with everything that people say or believe or who they are even. But if they're fellow workers, I want to have their back and I want them to have my back, and I think that's what it boils down to. And so, we've had some interesting conversations on the show in the last several weeks and months. We've had really diverse folks calling in. Everyone from, right-wing conservatives to left-wing socialists and everything in between. At the end of the day, we don't have to agree on everything, but hopefully we can come together and recognize that working people have to have each other's back. We have to support each other. When one of us is injured, all of us are injured, and we do have to take that seriously. real mass mobilization is what it's going to take to make things better in this country. It's the only thing that has made things better in this country, right? The reason postal workers even have the rights they have, as limited as they are, is because of mass action, right? And so on with every right and benefit that we, have taken for granted in this country, all of which were under threat, under very serious threat. So, I just think people power is the solution. It's what it's going to take. It's difficult to build coalitions with people and to work across these differences. I mean, there are workers out here who have beliefs that I disagree with. There are workers out here who I believe are misled and are misinformed. And that is something that we're trying to tackle with this show and with this project, right? Because there is a lot of media out there. There is a lot of propaganda out there. And there are, very powerful, wealthy interests that push their messaging through various platforms. And they hope that working people will be divided and distracted and confused and misinformed. And we do what we can to try to, amplify the voices of working people and let working people share what's going on. That's why we do, try to have an open platform and have people from diverse perspectives that we may not always agree with. But at the end of the day, our message is working class solidarity and building a working class movement, class-wide movement across industries, across unions, get working people coming together and organizing for what really unites us. Because at the end of the day, right, most of us want a lot of the same things. We want a decent life for ourselves and our families and our communities. We want to, feel safe and come home safely from work and spend time with our families. We want to be able to go to the doctor when we need to. We want to be able to retire in dignity. These are not radical ideas. These are just basic quality of life ideas that, we all expect. This is the wealthiest country on planet Earth, the wealthiest country in the history of the planet. And it's not, radical, I don't believe, that we as working people who create this tremendous wealth expect that some of it will go back to us and that we can have a decent quality of life for ourselves and our families. So, I would just encourage the letter carriers to keep organizing, keep working to build a strong movement. We all deserve better. You deserve better. We deserve better. All working people in this country deserve better, especially here in the South. So, those were just some things that were on my mind.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.